All right, Dan Morris. Here we
What's
are.
up? What's going on, Evan? How are you?
I'm tired, stressed, same old. But
Yeah.
so I just wanted to get started by talking about your history in the land of retail because you're one of the few people I know with as much experience in a retail environment without getting a management position in a way. So
Yeah.
so all of us millennials and Gen Zers who are struggling with the disaster that is just the corporate America and lack of advancement.
Yeah.
Like we love to bitch and complain about it, but you have actually had people prevent you from moving forward in every business you've worked in.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you being a little older than the majority of us are quite frankly slated to give a different perspective from our limited experience. Because while I will say that the average Gen Zer and millennial is smarter than the media gives us credit for, we also at times especially us the ones on the younger side like us tend to not have all the life experience necessary. So let's just start this simple. What was your first job?
So my first job, I will say this, I was a little late on the whole job start thing. My parents didn't want me getting a job in high school because my grades weren't that hot. So I mean, I fully understand where they were coming from, telling me not to get a job till I got out of school, being they wanted me to concentrate on that. So my first job I actually got was at Coconuts Music and Movies. So Coconuts I should say, an extension of FYE.
I'm guessing it went the way of the dodo like Blockbuster did.
Yeah, it definitely went downhill. Not while I worked there though. It was a couple years after I left. But yeah, they were basically an extension of like FYE at the local mall that we have here. So it was just an overpriced music store essentially. But I liked it at the time. You know, in high school, my main career pathway was radio broadcasting, so I was very in tune with music at the time. So it just kind of fit. It felt right. It was a fun job. It taught me a lot of experiences. Taught me not to trust a lot of people in retail. To be honest with you, just for an example, one time I had a schedule that said, I had these 2 certain days off, and I had the assistant manager of the store call me and tell me that schedule was wrong, even though I had received that schedule the previous night from the actual store manager, not the assistant store manager. So it became a whole big debacle, and she technically fired me over it. So I had called the store manager at the time and talked to him about it, and he was like, well, she doesn't have the power, the authority to fire you. Only I can do that, or my boss can do that. She can't do that. So that right then and there was like, okay, you got to take everything that people tell you in this industry with just a slight grain of salt. Like there may be some truth in it, but one thing I've learned throughout life, period, this is just life experience, is there's always 2 sides to a story, and then there's a truth.
Right. So after you left there, where did you go next?
So I left there due to.
How old were you at this point?
I was 18. So I fresh out of high school. Like I'm one of the ones that I turned 18. My birthday was in between the school year, so I was like the proper age every year I went into that year. So I graduated. I started my freshman year at the age of 14 and graduated at the age of 17, and then turned 18, got the job. I worked there through Christmas, and in January or February of the next year, it was basically a mutual agreement between me just putting in my 2 weeks or just getting let go for things that were out of control. The district manager came in and started accusing people of stealing and all kinds of other stuff, and it was just a bad situation.
Well, I mean, the industry. Netflix was on its comeuppance at that point, and I think everybody in the rental industry was losing their damn minds.
I mean, so that was a long while before Netflix. This is back in 2001.
Oh, okay. So this is so Amazon. So this is just after the .com bubble bursts.
Yeah. Essentially, exactly after the .com bubble burst.
I remember going into a Blockbuster well into when I was a boy back in 2006. You know, it wasn't until like I think 2012 or 13 he started seeing posts on social media talking about, oh, I miss Blockbuster. I remember all these different things. But
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Blockbuster was a Friday night staple in my life, dude. It's like me and a good friend of mine.
My dad would have us for the weekend, and we'd go out to Blockbuster. I'd get a PlayStation 2 game. I mean, the first time I played Budokai Tenki 3 or whatever.
Tenkaichi.
Yeah,
say it right, man. Tenkaichi.
I ain't no fighting game guy, but it was some cool shit playing that on PS2.
Oh yeah, man. That was actually one of my favorite games.
So after you left there, where'd you go next?
So I did a little search, and I didn't get a job until the summer. I took a couple months off. I talked to my parents about it. My dad wasn't necessarily happy with it, but it was better than me just being miserable, and so he agreed to it. So I took a couple months off, and then my mom, she works at a local deli here where we're from, and there's a pool supply store a couple doors down, and she smokes, so she would go out back, and she would always run into the store manager there, Fred, and finally Fred had to let somebody go because they just weren't working out, and she talked to Fred, and Fred told her to bring me in. So that was at Leslie's Pool Supplies. So I went from music to pool supplies, but I've always had a pool in my backyard. Like, as long as I can remember, there's always been a body of water in my backyard that I've either taken care of or helped to take care of.
Yeah, you're the kind of kid who like swam before he walked.
Oh yeah, damn right. Yeah, I mean, like my parents, way back in the day when they would still hang out with all their party friends back in the day. I'm talking like 1985, 86, 87. Way back. I can't believe it's that long ago. Anyways,
well, so for reference here, Dan is 38.
No, 35. Good 35. Lord, I was born in 83.
He was born in 83. Okay, so you're barely considered a millennial.
Yeah, I'm literally the Gen Z millennial cusp. Like it's like 82, 83 is the Gen Z millennial cusp.
Yeah.
So
I was born. Well, no, 80. Well, you mean the Gen X millennial cusp? You mean?
No, those are maybe it is Gen X. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm the Gen.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
because I was born in 97. The millennial cutoff is 96. But because I grew up in a part of Maryland that is rather that just took a lot of time to just come to the modern world.
Yeah, look, they took their time developing.
Right, my childhood experiences are similar to yours than it is to other people my age who grew up in.
Right, yeah, because you didn't necessarily have the advancements that my area had at that point in time.
Yeah, I spent as much if not more time playing outside than I did playing on my PlayStation or my Game Boy. I had the luxury of having lots of open land to just go out and play and explore and do all that stuff, which is fun. But in lawn darts and
oh hell yeah,
whooping your kids and all that crap. So it's
the good old days, man.
I guess good old days is subjective. I don't know about you, but being able to recognize somebody on TV and Google who the hell they are is like.
Oh, dude, I'm not even going to deny that. That's tits. I mean, like that's tits up right there, dude.
So
it's awesome having that in your pocket. Like it's like I remember growing up with these shit computers. Like today it's in today's age, like the tier computers we have, like the computers back then are absolute shit tier. But
when the Intel Core Duo came out,
that was hot shit, bro. That was fucking awesome.
And meanwhile, I've got a computer I bought from you for $50 with the Intel Core Duo that can barely run Windows 10.
Well, I thought it was better. I'm sorry. At least it was only $50. All right.
Hey, it's a $50 computer. I have a half a mind to turn it into a Bitcoin miner. For God's sake.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, yeah. But back to you. So,
yeah. All right. So the pool supplies.
You're at pool supplies, and
I mean that ultimately led.
What does that work entail?
So I mean it's breathing in a lot of different chemicals. I will say that. I shit you not. I literally was not sick. I did not catch a cold. I did not run a fever. I did not feel ill at all for 2.5 years straight because of 9.5 hours straight of breathing in chlorine.
You think that would make you ill?
Yeah, you think it would, but I guess just because it was technically sealed containers, so the chlorine smell was coming from the pails. So it wasn't super concentrated. It was the chlorine tablets that they had that you would just toss in like a floater or toss in your little skimmer basket, and then over time it would keep the chlorine level maintained. Like the dangerous chlorine is the stuff that's in the bags, the powdered shocks stuff.
Right.
That's the super concentrated stuff where if you catch a whiff of that, you're passing the fuck out. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are. If you're taking an inhalation of anything chlorine in that concentration of 73% or higher, your ass is hitting the ground, and you're hitting the ground hard.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, but like back to what I was saying with the chlorine in the pails, they were in tablet form, usually in 2.5 inch or 1.25 inch. They were probably anywhere in the neighborhood from like generally 14 to 19% chlorine. So that wasn't too bad to breathe that in. It wasn't too detrimental for my health. I mean, obviously it benefited my health for 2.5 years. I didn't get sick at all. But I mean, that was interesting because with that, like working with chlorine, and then you're working with sodium bicarbonate and calcium hypochlorite, and like that's a type of chlorine. There's calcium hydroxide, which is like a water hardener. It's crazy. It's almost like it was another favorite subject of mine in high school, which was chemistry. Like testing people's water was probably like my favorite thing to do, even though I am colorblind. But I always had people there to verify, hey, what you're seeing is right. You might not be seeing the color, but you can gauge the darkness of the solution that you add to it.
And you kind of brought those skills with you.
Yeah.
Like just for everybody listening, Dan has a very rare and very acute case of color blindness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually all three types of color blindness rolled up into one. Technically should be monochrome, but I got lucky enough to where I can still see some colors.
Yeah. And so that what that job did is it allowed you to kind of like be able to gauge colors with because of your color blindness.
Well, yeah, and at that time too, I was very actively playing paintball. So I was a semi-professional paintball player back then. I was 20, 21 back then, so I was super active.
Where being colorblind is almost
it is most certainly an advantage, especially if you're in the woods. Like, yeah, that was the majority of what we did. We played a lot of woods ball, and there would be a lot of situations where people wouldn't be happy with me. They'd be very upset with me, to be frank. They'd be fucking pissed off because they would move in a certain way, and that's what I would see. I wouldn't be able to discern them sitting behind a bush, but if I saw them move, it's
gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like the prime example, Saturday night, I was up at my girlfriend's house, and she was like, "Oh, look, there's a bunny in the backyard," and we're hopping in the truck to head to the store. And I'm like, "I don't see it." And she's like, "It's right there, sitting in the grass, right in front of the shed, about 5 feet in front of the shed." So I'm looking for it. I still don't see it. It turns its head. I immediately catch it.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah. "Oh, wow, it's like that." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like that. Like I have to see it move in order for me to catch it, because this thing was perfectly camouflaged with the way my color blindness was working with the grass and just the I guess like the browns that the bunny had. I mean, it was a little baby bunny, so I mean it was hard to see to begin with. It was a tiny thing, but I didn't catch it until it turned its head. So yeah, it's just crazy. But okay, so back to the pools. So yeah, like with being able to discern movements through colors, I was able to match shades of colors instead of the color itself. Like I could
Right.
gauge the darkness or the lightness of it, and I would go and double check. Like people would bring in a big old, I would say probably maybe 18 ounces of their pool water in a little water test jug. I would use maybe an ounce of it. So I had, two buckets. I had one where I dumped all the mixed up stuff, and then one where I would dump all the other water. Well, what I would do occasionally is I would just fill up, one of the testers with the spare water that we had from a customer's pool, and just sit there and test it, and then go ask my boss. I'm like, hey, is this right? Like, am I seeing this right? Is this correct?
Just practicing getting your colors right.
Exactly. Just practicing getting those proper shades, and that's how I went from there. And then that ultimately I did that for 2.5 years. I worked at the Kirkwood Highway store down.
So what ultimately led to you? What ultimately led to you leaving your employment with Leslie Pool Supplies?
It was unfortunately the next person that I worked with. Here's one of the bad experiences of bad management in retail. The guy I was working for, everything started out fine and dandy, like it normally does. And then I would say 2 weeks after that, it just proceeded to descend into rapid hell for me. Like the guy would refuse to come into work. And then he would leave early to go pick his daughter up from school and drop her off and be gone for 2 hours. And I'm like, dude, I'm scheduled till 4, and he wouldn't show back up till 5 or 6. So, and even with me going higher up, talking to our district manager, talking to the regional manager, it didn't do anything like that because we were so strapped for staff. They'd really refuse to hire an actual manager for the store. So, we did our best that we could together. We butted heads a lot. Like, he actually threatened me in front of a customer once. I was trying to be jovial and playful with him, just trying to get a laugh out of him. And he basically snapped on me and was like, "We can go out back and I'll fuck you up right now." And I was like, "Okay, well, thanks for saying that. I'm calling the district manager." And I was like, "Could you be my witness, please?" To the lady that was standing in front of me. You basically had to pick her jaw up off the floor. So, we got things remedied, but there was no restitution. He was not let go. Like it's just basically the upper management just kind of brushed it under the rug, and things continued
because they just didn't have the money to hire more people.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So yeah, that was just very distasteful. And ultimately,
did you end up leaving as a result of that, or did you?
Yeah, yes. Unfortunately, yeah, I did. And I feel bad for the way I did it, but I just couldn't take it anymore, and I just stopped going.
Would you ever want to go back and work for that company again if they
tried
back on their shit? What happened?
No, the corporate said no.
That's a shame.
Well, I had talked to the district manager, Rob, that I knew. He was the area manager back when I actually worked for him. This was
so he
5 or 6 years ago. Well, yeah, he'd come up. He definitely made a come up, and he was like, "Look," he was like, "I would love you to work here. I know what Fred has done with you." He's like, "I remember working with you and Fred at down at Kirkwood." He was like, "But unfortunately, Louis has done some stupid shit with the computer system in your name, and corporate does not want you here." He was like, "We will pay you for the 3 days that you have worked." He was like, "Thank you for helping the store out." He was like, "I'm just sorry, but there's nothing that we can do." I was like, "Really?" I was like, he did something." He's like, "I know he did something. I cannot prove it to corporate." And I was like, all right.
And I'm guessing when he says he couldn't prove it beyond a doubt.
Yeah, because I didn't properly leave. I just stopped showing up. 3 weeks later, I just dropped my keys off at the store and that was it.
God.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, man. That just
dude, it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you gotta learn your lessons. And yeah, I mean that really put a bad taste in my mouth for retail. So after that,
where'd you go? So after you left there, where did you go?
So I actually stayed in the pool industry, but I went into the construction and service side of things. I was digging holes. I was basically building in-ground pools. Yeah, manual labor, like good old manual labor. I mean, that at the end of the day, like I remember working there. At the end of the day, yeah, I might have been tired. Yeah, I might have smelled like ass, but I felt good because it was good, hard, honest work. You know what I mean? It's like, I made that money today. I know I made that money today because I feel like I made that money today.
Right. You saw it at the end of the day, in a way.
Most certainly. Sorry, I had to hit my vape. But yeah, so I did that for a little over 2 years, and certain things happened with that job. I love the job. It was great. It was something that was different every day because you weren't going to the same building like working in retail. Like you go to the same store every day. You see the same people every day. You see the same customers in and out every day, every week. With working with
a level
pools
of variation.
Yeah, we're working with pools and servicing the pools that me and Adam had serviced. I mean, we were driving from Galena, Maryland, back up to Avondale, PA, in one day.
And that sounds like a great shtick, but what changed?
So substance abuse is what changed.
Let's and out of respect for you, we're just gonna sidestep that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can maybe a later podcast if you're willing, but I don't. Yeah, let's just focus on the retail bit. So after that bit was resolved,
after that whole thing was resolved,
where did you go next?
I took a while off. I once again talked to my parents, and they were definitely cool with it. And then my good old friend of mine had hit me up, and at the time he was one of the top store managers for a game store. I really don't want to say which one. You could probably kind of guess.
It's a
national branded store.
Owned by a company begins with the three words BAB.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
So,
yeah. So, he had hit me up and he was like, "Hey," he was like, "Look," he was like, "I got an open position at my store." He's like, I know you're looking for work. Come and fill out an application. I'll get you the job." I was like, all right. So I did that, and I worked with him for the next 3 months, and he basically just sped trained me the proper way in upper management in the company, and how to run a store, everything that entails the inventory systems and counting all the different pieces of inventory. So I immediately got fast tracked to assistant manager, and I was an assistant manager for probably 10 or 11 different stores throughout my 5 years at this company. I was passed over 6 times for a store, even though one of the last stores I was at, the previous store manager's rankings. Now, just to remind you, I was only assistant manager, but I was included in the store manager rankings because of how the store ran when the manager wasn't there. So the store there was another guy named Dan. So our district manager put us together, and he was like, "All right, I like this. This is the Dan and Dan show. You guys can get this done." We pulled a store that was on average 1,600 to 1,900 in rank out of like 4,600 stores. The first year that we had worked together in this store, we pulled it from the 16 and 1900s to the number 3 company or store in the entire company in sales. Now, mind you, that was by volume, of course. We weren't necessarily the busiest store, but to have that much, profitability in one of the slower stores was a good thing. But it ultimately was never rewarded, essentially. Like, we were recognized. We got our name said on the international conference calls. That
Dan, let's be frank, really quick.
What's up?
I've known you for a year, 2 years at this point. Just about.
Yeah.
You are not a person who kisses ass. You get the things you want and the things you get in life. You want to earn, and you earn them by doing what you're supposed to do.
I appreciate that.
Not blowing some corporate asshole.
Yeah, it's
So what it sounds like is everybody who got their comeuppance higher in the company that shall not be named, that that is quite the stop to buy games from. All seemed to have done things that just they didn't get the position because of merit or principle. They got it because they were buddy and they kissed ass.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, so you being somebody who doesn't like, if that's how the company, like, I think there's a big problem stop that with lots of games that doesn't, you're not rewarded by merit, you're rewarded by ass kissing, which is a problem they face. And I think that might be one of the big reasons why you were always passed over. You didn't play like
I didn't play the corporate game essentially.
Right. You played the local game. You played.
No, I played my game. I played to do my job and
right.
do good and do well at it.
Yeah, and that's not how you excel.
Yeah.
You know. And so continue. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So I mean, eventually, after I don't know 4 years of being constantly moved around, they finally put me at the one store, and then it was looking at statistics and working at this store, like all the upper management, where we were all close friends. We all hung out with each other. We all went out to the bar with each other. We all went over to each other's house and had parties and hung out. And it was just, I guess, the mantra of the upper management at GameStop at that time. And it's just, I don't know, it was just really weird because it was basically like everybody kind of split, and then everybody started, like, the friendships kind of spaced themselves out, went their own ways, and then people started just I don't know, they just started disappearing. They were quitting or getting let go for like dumb reasons. And it came down to it where it was me and another assistant manager, where he was finally up for getting his store, and I was basically next in line because I was passed over. Like he was basically in the same situation that I was, but he had been there for almost a decade as an assistant. So it was definitely his time, and he made a big stink about it, and that's why he was next to get his store. So he got his store, and then I was the highest paid assistant manager in the district at that time. And the district manager had no plans on, emptying out a store because he had his team, as he so succinctly put it. And I was let go. Now, they tried to blame it on me for closing the store 2 minutes early, but I mean, who in their right mind is going to close a fucking store at 8:58 and not just wait 2 minutes till 9 p.m.?
Right. So they were looking for any excuse.
Yeah, they were looking for any excuse, and how they got me is what they only gave us basically like 25 minutes to a half an hour to close, and if we had a late customer, well, you better be faster. Somebody was in the store and you're ringing them out, and they you go past 9 o'clock, or you better move fast, because there was no overtime allowed, none whatsoever, and if you're there past 9:30. Well, then the next day you come in the afternoon, you come in that many minutes late past 9:30.
Right.
Because the payroll with this company was just stupidly strict.
Right. And they were and honestly, it sounds any excuse to get rid of you.
Oh yeah. But so how they got me, and back to that, how they got me was, so in order to lighten the load on me and my associates, I would go. Pull the big, big chain gates or big window defense systems and door defense systems. I would pull them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what? So
I pulled them down early, and I would pull them down like anywhere from like 5 to 7 minutes early, right. And they somehow construed that as me locking the door, even though the door was still wide open. They weren't pulled all the way down. They were pulled about 3/4 of the way down.
Just
And
so you can finish
my
wrapping up in
customers
about
knew
30
though.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, my customers knew though that like if they saw that, like, hey, we're getting ready to close up, we're still open. Come in and get your stuff.
Get in quick, get out. Yeah.
Yeah, like I communicate with my customers very well, I believe. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, you watch me work a lot.
I let the record show that Dan is one of the. Also, at the same time, you also work for a business that is owned by a man who doesn't tolerate like corporate elbow rubbing bullshit either. So
True.
you're allowed to like provide the best possible customer service without
100%.
without having to worry about like what the company actually wants. Rick is one of the just as a boss he may falter on certain things, but when it comes to his customers and when it comes to his principles as a man, he's somebody I can respect.
Almost certainly.
Yeah,
almost certainly.
Good man. You know, and what I will say is, it sounds to me like let's start with this. What are some examples of some things that happened, like some stories of where you just started, where the management was just completely inept? You don't have to name names, just incidents. So like with the example of the iPhone rules.
You said the iPhone rules?
iPhone debacles, you know.
Oh yeah. So it's yeah. So we started doing those cash trade-ins, and oh boy, the store I was at was the area wasn't the best. It's a decent area, but it's not the best.
It's not. It's like it's like people aren't getting like murdered in broad daylight.
No. It's nothing like that. Petty crime. Like literally, like this is back when the iPhone 5C came out. Like, you know, the iPhone with the multicolored, you know, the different colored plastic backs to them.
Yeah, this was what, 2009, 10?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the store that I was at working at the time is these 3 guys, 3 or 4 guys. They would always come in the day the new color released. And they would also have with them the brand new release games that just came out either the day before or the same day.
Right.
And I'm looking at this pile of merchandise, and they want to trade it in for cash. So, and that was one thing that this company started doing was cash trade-ins, right? Which I didn't necessarily agree with, but
because untrustworthy actors.
Exactly. It led to a clientele that, you know,
wasn't morally upright about where they sourced their goods.
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, I would call my upper management, and they would just say, just take it. But I know 100% for a fact that it's hot. Like, this is definitely stolen merchandise. Like, just take it. If whoever's it is wants to, you know, file a police report and come get it, they can do that. So, like, I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, you're telling me to do this. I'm morally against it. But what's that?
He wasn't even feigning ignorance.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, what ultimately led to you leaving the company? Yeah.
Oh, it was the 2 minutes early, and I'm from what I've gathered from talking to the old friends of the upper management of GameStop, where we all used to hang out. Like, you know, everybody that I've ever worked with has said it's definitely not your work ethic. It's not your sales. It's not how you treat the customers. Like, everybody. So I was just dumbfounded. And then, come to find out, at that time I was, because the one assistant manager, he was making damn near $20 an hour at that point in time. He was making a store manager salary as an assistant because he had, almost a decade of tenure.
Right. He just hadn't gotten a damn store yet.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's when you have a decade of tenure, you would think you would get priority. I mean,
well,
you all like if my math is correct, you were what 3 years away from having like that same amount of tenure.
No, I did 5 years total.
5 years total. I thought you did like around 7.
Well, I did work for them, back in when I was working at the pool supply store too. Like I was just a part-time game advisor, so I would go in at like 6:30 and work till 9:30.
Get a little extra paycheck.
Yeah, just organize the games and whatnot, like clean up the desk, the back area, that was all messy, and just like help them out, take out trash and shit.
Right.
Yeah, but that was for me. That was fun because it was all friends.
Right.
So I really didn't consider that much of work. But yeah, so come to find out at the time, the other assistant managers that were underneath of me, the new assistant managers, were either hired off the street or promoted through the system, were making almost $2.50 less than I was.
Right.
So I ultimately think that that was the reason I was let go, is just because I was one of the highest paid assistant managers at that time, and they were trying to cut corners and costs like big time because they were ultimately failing at what they were doing because of the newer technology coming out with DRM on certain DLC. Yeah, digital download stuff.
That was around the beginning of digital downloads.
Yeah, DLC was a relatively new thing for a little while there, and then it just became the norm. And now it's just like, now I look at it and you're looking at loot crates and all this other crap, and I'm just like, what? How did it get so rampant? But that's another subject that we can tackle at another time.
Well, we can tackle that noise after, like, talking about your experience and your knowledge.
Yeah.
So you leave GameStop. What is the first? You leave there. Aside from fuck these guys, what is your first thought?
Well, I still had another paycheck that was coming that would cover my rent and my whatever expenses I may have had. So I just took the next 2 weeks off and just relaxed. Just really just tried to clear my mind of the whole situation. And then another good friend of mine called me up and he was like, "Hey, I heard what happened. Sorry to hear that. I work here. We need help. Come fill out an application."
And what place was that?
This was Tim's Liquors.
Okay.
So
was this the first liquor store you worked at, or was this?
This was the second liquor store I worked at. So I've definitely had previous experience. When I was 21, I got a little side job at a liquor store, where the guy could only pay me like basically minimum wage, but he would let me have like a case a week or something like that, or like a bottle a week. So we had a little deal worked out.
And what would you do with that case of liquor?
Well,
as it pertains to parties and stuff.
So me and a couple of friends of mine, we would buy some stuff. We would get, me and another friend of mine that worked at the liquor store as well. We would, take our cases and our beer and everything, and we would head down to the local college town down in Newark, and we would walk up and down Main Street with 30 packs on our shoulders, bottles hanging out of our pockets. And then we would hop over to Cleveland Avenue, which is the next street over. And that's where all like the fraternity houses, sorority houses are. So yeah, it was like we would walk down the street and people would just run out the front door hollering at us, "Yo, party's over here, come on." We'd go walk into the house, take a look around. If we didn't like the scenery, we'd just turn around and walk out and be like, "Look guys, we might be back later."
And when you say scenery, what do you mean?
Just checking out the whole vibe of the party, like seeing what kind of crowds there, like. What's that?
Seeing if it's a sausage fest or not.
So, that's definitely part of it. That's most certainly part of it. That's the first inspection there is seeing how much of a sausage fest it is,
and also seeing like how rowdy the people are.
Yeah, seeing how hyped the party is. If it's going to be a fun night, if it's going to be a fight night, if it's going to be a loud night, a quiet night. Like, it's you can pretty much gauge those places because most of the people there are already half lit when you get there. Especially the time of night we would show up. It'd be like 8:30, between 8:30 and 9:30. They've already started drinking. So they've already been going for an hour or two. So some of them are already 3 sheets to the wind, passed out on the couch, getting drawn on. Like that's what happens when you leave your shoes on. At least in my clique, you get drunk, passed out with your shoes on, you get drawn on. Hell, there was one morning I woke up at my buddy Paul's house. I looked like fucking Darth Maul. Literally, like half my face was red, half my face was black, and apparently. So I got up Didn't realize this. Went into the bathroom, used the bathroom, washed my hands. Didn't bother to look at myself in the mirror. Went back into the room, and everybody's like laughing. I'm like, "The fuck y'all laughing at?" I'm like, "Did you not look in the mirror?" I was like, "No." I'm like, "You might want to go do that." And I look down, and I can see the one side of my nose is red, and the other side of my nose is black. And I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?" So I go in there, and yeah, like they literally like Deadpool'd me.
Yeah, and
Like, the little Deadpool symbol with the half black, half red.
And you had to like take some like Gojo or something.
Oh, no, man, I scrubbed that shit off. Fuck that.
God.
I wore off like 3 layers of skin doing that. That hurt like a bitch.
God damn, dude.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, it was all fun and games. It's hilarious. I mean, I got.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen you fall asleep with your shoes on.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I'm like a straight laced. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't party. I like that my personality is interesting enough where I don't need to be fucked up to hold a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm the same way. But libations, you know.
Yeah. So you're at this liquor store now.
Yeah. All right. So back to Tim's. So you know, this is where I actually took I didn't take it as a job because, you know, like I was being trained in certain areas of purchasing, not just stocking, and you're doing the general milieu of, you know, a retail joint. You know, basically, I mean, liquor store is no different than a retail store. The only difference is
this is where you're learning like the back end.
This is like back end management stuff instead of just like upper management inventory stuff. Like, I was doing inventory stuff, but I was also learning the equations, you know, to find out what the markup was for the, you know, find a price for a certain bottle of wine. Like, well, you know, I had it all mapped out. Like, one of my key responsibilities when I first started working there was every Monday or every Thursday. I got it changed to Thursday because that was my daytime. I hated doing it at night because we were really busy at night on Monday nights, but I was in control of making 6-packs. So what most people don't know about liquor stores here in our state is you can't buy just 6-packs already pre-ringed in those plastic rings that I hate. Yeah, that's the manual labor of somebody that works at the liquor store. Like, I would sit there. I mean, there was times where I would have to ring 975 cans. I mean, it wasn't that bad. That was a light day. I mean, holiday times, you're doubling that. Like, I would literally pull. Was it 2, 4, 6, 8, 9? No, yeah, nine 30-packs at a time out of the fridge to ring them.
And how long would that take on average?
On average, probably about an hour and a half.
That's not too bad.
I mean, once you got the feel for it, it just became a little click, 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 click. Like, I did it different ways. Like, because I have ADD, or I should call it ADHD, as it's now medically known as. So it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
You're weird. That it's just like, that's it. We're weird.
But I'm not outwardly hyper. My brain's hyper.
Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts race. I think about multiple things at once. But anyways, I would constantly switch up the patterns that I would do this in just to appease my brain, just to, you know, to keep myself sane.
Nothing is more awkward than being in a conversation with somebody, there being 3 seconds of silence, and then you bring up something completely separate.
Oh, God. So, something completely out of left field, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But I'm like, listen. It makes sense if you're in my brain because it's all attached by some hair of some sort. You know, it makes sense when you're ADHD, but for somebody who doesn't have that, like, brain activity, it doesn't. It's weird.
Yeah. So they just, I don't know if they can't. Yeah. Anyways, it's just weird for them.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So that was a responsibility.
You're learning the management bit. You're still doing a little bit of the. Things are going good. What ultimately made you say, like, leave Tim's employment and move on?
Well, so I liked working for Tim's. I mean, I took a $3 pay cut going there. I went from, you know, about $12.50 at GameStop to $9.50. And that was just for the first 90 days. You know, they gave me $10 after that, which was cool. But looking at it in the long run, like I broke even because at the time working for GameStop, I was working out of state. I was working in Pennsylvania, not Delaware. So I was getting hit for not only Delaware state taxes but Pennsylvania state taxes because I was working there. So even though I was making $2.50 less, ultimately it evened out. Like my paychecks were essentially the same.
Right.
So the money wasn't that good, but it was one of those jobs where it was like on certain days, Wednesdays, truck days, we would get deliveries from NKS, which is Budweiser distribution essentially. Budweiser and Corona were the two biggest orders we would get from them. And when I say biggest, I'm talking we're getting like 300 cases of 30 packs, 330 packs of Budweiser, just regular Budweiser, not counting Bud Light, not counting any other brands that they may carry. And Corona was another one where we're ordering 250, 300 cases of, and those are 24-pack bottles. So those are ultimately, in essence, a little bit heavier than the aluminum can 30 packs. So it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of manual labor.
Like on average, like how often did they have to restock? Because I know liquor has a pretty long shelf life.
Based on where we were located, in the northern part of the state, really close to the Pennsylvania line. And one thing about Delaware is there's no sales tax, and Pennsylvania has sales tax. So all the
people in Concord,
Latino friends, all the guys who worked in the mushroom farms up in like Kennett Square and Avondale and right down the road, they would all come down to our store, and they, because no sales tax. And they were cool dudes. Like some of them were teaching me how to speak Spanish. One guy was teaching me how to say ice. Other guy was teaching me general phrases. It was pretty neat. Like I was actually learning and working. It was fun. It's like I said, ultimately it wasn't the best paying job, but it was actually a fun job because I got to experience all the different aspects of it, whether it be from the customer service end to the back end management end, like so looking at actually owning. What's that?
It was an interim job. You were learning a lot of skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you left that job, you didn't leave because of bad blood or anything.
No, there was no animosity. There was no bad blood with anybody.
I just need to make more money, and
yes, and I was offered.
And where did you go to do that?
So, I was contacted once again by another good friend of mine, and it leads me to one of the sayings that I like to say: "It's not what you know, it's who you know."
Yeah.
So I started working. This is almost 4 years ago. At the vape shop where I work right now at Vapey down in Wilmington. And, back when I first started working there, Rick was the store manager there. It was owned by, 4 other people. And we tried to treat it like it was like him and I had that same mentality of, treating it kind of like it was a corporate environment, but we're more laid back. Like you don't have to worry as much about, your language. Like, the conversations can be much lighter. You didn't have to worry about people like flipping out, being, I don't want to say sensitive about it, but
but that's exactly what they are, sensitive.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, I'm somebody who, at least with all my beliefs, all put my ducks in a row. I'm somebody you would think would be somebody who hates speech, quote unquote hate speech, who hates all these who likes to see people I don't like censored and all that stuff. And it's at the end of the day, the best way to beat somebody who's saying something stupid is to beat them by saying something factual.
Yeah.
So and hindering speech is not the way to do anything. You can make people laugh, you can make people cry with words. You don't, but you're not able to get any reaction if you're not able to engage.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that came to be in what year?
2015.
In 2015.
Well, it was like summer of 2015. So the store essentially opened in March of 2015. And at the time, the guy that got me to come and work at the vape shop with him, we were all living together. We were mutual friends. We all worked at GameStop together. So we were like, hey, like, our buddy had unfortunately, gotten divorced, and he had fallen upon hard times. He has had a hard time paying his mortgage and whatnot. So, he had asked me and, our friend to move in with him, and he didn't charge us much. I mean, when we first moved in there, it was $500 a month, for everything.
Shit, that's cheaper than my rent for a studio.
Yeah, and this was, access to a house with your own private room. Yeah, it's a shared bathroom, but it is what it is. I mean,
but you're guys, so it's like it's not like you're having to fight over shit. Yeah. Yeah. So and you've been there ever since.
Yeah, I've been there since summer of 2015.
And what has changed since you've been there?
A lot. Actually, there's been a lot of change, whether it be like on the regulatory front with the government, the items that we sell themselves, like innovations and advancements with batteries, and there's the devices that you can use. Like there's crazy stuff out there now, like the salt nicotine vaporizers now, where you're able to achieve unheard of nicotine strength levels, and it's basically
not
the mimic
not
of
get sick.
Yeah, not get sick, not get physically ill, like, and it mimics a cigarette draw extremely well, but it just doesn't have the same tars and nasty flavors. Yeah, all that jargon.
And nicotine may be a carcinogen. It's also only one bad thing that's in cigarette, and it's in fact probably the only natural thing in cigarette.
Oh, yeah, more than likely, besides the tobacco itself. I mean,
well, the nicotine's in the tobacco.
Yeah. I mean, the part of the reason why the vaping industry uses nicotine, derived from tobacco plants, is because a tobacco plant is the most abundant source of nicotine. Like you can find nicotine in eggplant and tomatoes and most other vegetables, but it's such a minute concentrations that it's not worth spending the money to harvest the crop that you would need to
you would have to harvest 100 plants to get the amount of nicotine in a single leaf of tobacco.
Essentially, if you
it's just not worth it.
Right. Yeah, just fiscally, it's fiscally irresponsible.
Yeah. Right. So if I remember, and I don't remember what year it was off. It was this past year, I think. So the store changed ownership from the 4 people, to your friend who got you in there, Rick, and he's basically I think Vapey is an interesting test case of how successful a business can be when management takes the same approach of customer service that like both you and Rick have the same mentality of service of customer first, making sure they want to come back, not that they have to come back.
Right.
I've heard people talk about they schlep out from out of town just to come to you because you have better products at better prices and better customer service.
Yeah, I mean, if you Google the vape shop, I mean, we have a current 4.9 out of 5-star rating on Google for customer reviews. Which, if you look at any other vape shop in the state, like I'm not trying to toot my store's horn or anything, but it's the highest in the state. I mean,
for good reason. I mean, I'm not even somebody who vapes, but I come and hang in the store myself just because the atmosphere is one that is welcome, regardless of who's there, what the conversation is, what people are smoking or saying. It is an environment of open discussion, freedom of speech, and just being welcome in general.
Yeah, that's ultimately one of my favorite parts about work. A lot of people I guess they just can't grasp that. Like I socialize all day for work. Like it's probably one of the best jobs you could ever have. I mean, it it can lead like further in. Like I know plenty of people that started at vape shops who now work for, national vape liquid companies. People who actually manufacture the liquid that we're vaping. Like these people started down at the bottom of the totem pole and have advanced into, the upper echelon essentially of manufacturing
in society. In a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like this industry. When I first started in it, there was no ceiling. And then 2016 hit, and the FDA stepped in, and then that's when ceilings started showing up. I couldn't do certain things that I used to do. I couldn't, leading up to these regulations, I was actually making my own coils.
Let's be clear. What for the people? What regulation are you talking about?
So, oh crap, I forget what their name is. So basically, FDA put regulations on the vape industry, labeling all the products as either a tobacco product, because of its use, because of the batteries inside my box here, because they power the coil that essentially fires, heats up the liquid and gives me my nicotine. They're now a tobacco product and are regulated under the FDA's tobacco laws, which is a bit egregious and overstepping in my eyes, because the batteries that we use were initially designed for military flashlights. And by that, I mean, these are 18650 batteries. So it's a Samsung 25R. So that's the type of battery that I'm using, the 18650. So the reason they call it that is it's 18 millimeters in diameter. It's 65 millimeters tall, and it's in a circular shape. So that's where the O at the end of it comes from. The 0 at the end comes from.
Right.
So these, like I said, these were initially designed for like laser use in military and military flashlights. These batteries, one single battery, if you're using an LED flashlight, can last you upwards of 4 to 5 days.
Right.
Being basically constantly on during the night, with no recharging whatsoever. So that's why we use these batteries. They're high amp draw, and they last. A set of batteries will last me anywhere from 8.5 to 9.5 hours of my day.
Which is I mean, like an iPhone wishes it had.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like anybody with an iPhone wishes they had that kind of battery life. I mean, shit, I don't have an iPhone. I've got myself a Galaxy, but I still wish my phone's battery life was like that.
Don't we all? That's what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so they like I said, from my point of view, in my opinion, and I know everybody has one. They all stink. So we'll get over that. Let's get over that hump. It's just a little bit of an overreach and just an overstretch of bounds. I mean, they almost went as far as saying that cotton balls were a tobacco product, because some, there's people who use tanks, like what I use now, but back then I dripped. So dripping is manually manufacturing your own coils. So basically taking the type of wire of your choice, rolling it up into a spring-like shape, wrapping it around a screwdriver or using a tool of some sort, and then figuring out your ohm rating, your electrical impedance, and going from there and using the best setup that you had, so you're not going to harm yourself or others while using this device. Nowadays, you got all kinds of electronic chips inside of these boxes that if something's going to fail, the MOSFET safety chip that's in there will fail first, and the device will cease to work anymore before anything detrimental happens to you.
It's. I remember you talking with me about how vapes used to be designed, and they were for a time plastic wires and some heat going through them, and now it just seems like they're just slowly becoming more and more sophisticated.
Well, yeah, So when I vape, I mean, I had the Aspire Nautilus starter kit. Paid $80 for this thing. Paid $40 too much for it, but at the time I didn't know any better. There was only 2 stores in the state.
And how much is that? And how much is that worth now?
It's paltry now. They don't even make it anymore. But if you wanted to equate it, it would be like one of the $30 sticks that I sell at the shop, like the smoke sticks that we have.
Yeah,
it would be one of those $30 jobs. Like that's the equivalent. Like the coils look almost identical. The tank, the whole device looks almost identical. except for the actual tank, the shape of the tank. That's really the only difference.
Right.
Same power levels too, which is ridiculous. But oh yeah, so when vaping first started out, like, I mean, really, a guy took a flashlight and took it apart. I guess he's over in China, and he wanted to quit smoking, so he was reading up on it, and he decided to make one himself. And that's a lot of people that vape, they get made fun of because the devices, some of the devices that we use are very phallic in design. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. There's no point to it. I mean, yeah. And we call them mechanical mods because there's no electronic chips in them. There's no wires. You're looking at a metal tube, whether it be stainless steel, aluminum, copper, brass, and it just conducts the current through the from the battery through to your coil back down, and just completes the circuit when you press the button. It's basically just an electric switch,
Right.
that activates the battery.
Is there a level of danger with that?
Oh, most certainly. If you're building coils for one of those devices and you don't know exactly what you're doing, like if you're not understanding Ohm's law, which is something I've seen it. It's not pretty.
And I think, and I kind of understand why those are technically not allowed. In certain respects,
in certain respects, yes.
Because all I know that the majority of actually all the things in your all the mods in your case are stupid proof.
Essentially, I mean,
right. I think for things that I understand the necessity to make electronics stupid proof because I'm a computer programmer.
Right.
I had a teacher named Eric Mailman, who one of my favorite programming teachers says has had a saying that just resonates for for programmers. When you're if the goal is to make things he said it thusly. If the goal is to make things idiot proof, you have to remember something important. Idiots are very creative.
That's a pretty good saying.
Right, because look at Apple.
Yeah.
When an Android, in just the settings page, and they lay it all out. They just go they don't have a search bar in their settings. It's the same list of just apps and stuff from the it's been the entire time. It really hasn't. Meanwhile, with every new Android release, you have the settings portion of the internals where you're switching settings and permissions and stuff.
Right.
It gets more and more streamlined. Makes it they categorize things that make sense versus just here's the app setting there. So and I have a lot of graphs between Apple and Android that I'm not going to get into because this podcast will go much longer than it already is slated to.
Yeah.
But it's really I making things idiot proof from a safety perspective. I completely understand why. While I have seen you do amazing things with your mod, your custom mod.
Yeah,
I can understand why the average sheeple is not.
It's just there's an understanding you have to have. You have to have a basic understanding of electricity. If you can't grasp that, if you build something that their ohms are too low, your battery can only put out so much. If you overload that battery, that's essentially what causes the failure in the system. Right. The battery will start to vent the chemicals inside. So basically, we use lithium-ion batteries, and it basically is separating the little the battery cells in there is a little basic piece of paper, essentially.
Yeah.
And if that battery gets hot enough, that piece of paper burns. Those chemicals then start to mix. Therein lies that's the detrimental part of it. That battery goes boom.
Well, speaking of detrimental, Let's talk Activision Blizzard. And
nice segue there, buddy. I like it.
but like literally, I remember you and I were talking.
Oh yeah, we went on a nice little rant about this at the shop one day.
I remember you and I were talking about how Blizzard was like the last company that had a soul, Yeah. And this was before. Listen, and keep in mind, like we counted Bethesda in that as well, because this was before Fallout 76 came out, and we counted BioWare in that too, because Anthem hadn't come out yet.
Right.
And oh god. And we were having this conversation literally the day before BlizzCon, where they announced Diablo Immortal. And I walk in like a couple days after. I'm like, why the fuck did they make us eat our words?
Yeah, seriously.
It's like now I got a buddy of mine who is a die-hard Diablo fan.
Right. Okay.
And I love. There are times where I will just send him pictures of Diablo Immortal just to hear him say "fuck you."
So apparently it's still coming out.
Oh god! Like they had to deliberately Diablo to prevent the all the back. Like, listen, it's bad enough what they did to Dungeon Hunter. I'm not Dungeon Keeper. I mean to say.
Yeah. Okay, Dungeon Keeper. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh god.
I mean, so like.
Here's the thing. I became a Diablo fan after that Diablo Immortal announcement. I'm Paragon level 67. Yeah, I know that up. You're higher.
Nice. That's not bad. I mean, you just started playing a couple months ago.
This month, actually, I started playing a lot. I adventure mode and shit is fun. I finally figured out where that damn cube was.
The
Custodian cube or whatever it's called. The thing that.
The Custodian's cube.
Yeah, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just what I find interesting is like I was watching this piece from Upper Echelon Gaming the other day, and they were talking about how the Activision and I watched like Jim Sterling's take on it too. They were talking about how Activision CEO is one of the highest paid CEOs in the country.
Well, of course. I mean,
right, but it's like, but I'm looking at this looking like smoothed out Danny DeVito, and I'm just like, what? Like, you have killed more good games than you've made.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like when you have to hinder some games' ability to succeed to make sure yours does better, like your main moneymaker. Period. I like you can't have Call of being the only thing basically keeping your company afloat, and then nerfing everything else you make. Like Destiny, the next Destiny game that comes out is going to be a different animal.
I really hope so, because
Bungie is going to Bungie's going to take everything it's learned from Activision and do the opposite. That's what I feel. I play a little Destiny now and again, and from a gameplay perspective, it's tight.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun game to play. It's extremely tight. It's like you said, the gun gameplay itself is what you would expect.
They're the company that made Halo.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, so that's what you would expect from
without Halo. You don't have Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, it all stems from Counter-Strike on PC, but everybody knows Halo because Halo was one of the first-person shooters
on console,
on the next gen console of its time, on the original Xbox.
Right. It's like at the end, if you think about it, gaming didn't really become a widely available thing really until the PlayStation Xbox era.
Yeah,
Sega,
PS1
yeah,
and
Nintendo. Yeah, the Sega and the Nintendo were doing their thing, but I mean, it really wasn't until the graphical fidelities grew to such a way where
it's like 32-bit hit.
Right, when video gaming didn't stop after you hit a certain age.
16, sorry. Yeah.
You know, it's I came up on I know my first ever console was a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, my first console was Nintendo.
My first video game was Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Yep. I had I think you're lucky you had Mario Kart. When I started playing games, I had Duck Hunt, Mario, Gauntlet. Then I got Paperboy. Wow. Paperboy was the shit.
I've never heard of Paperboy before.
Dude, alright, so like the more windows you break in the house, the more points you get. Like, and there's obstacles. It's like, check it out on YouTube. It's I know people have definitely put, marathon runs or whatever up on there. Yeah, it's an original NES game.
You know what it might be? You know what? It might actually be on the Nintendo Switch has this NES library. You can just play games from the NES on there. It might be on there. I'll have to double check later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just. What are your like? I know you've you've seen eras of gaming, many more than I have. I remember the earliest I remember was when games like PS1, PS2 era. I was born in '97. I started gaming I got my first Game Boy at around the year year 2000. You know, so I've been playing games since basically.
Yeah.
And then I got a PlayStation 1 from my uncle, or not even my uncle, he's just my dad's coworker, but he was like always at the house. He's my uncle.
I mean,
I played more Crash Bandicoot than was arguably necessary. Yeah, basically. Oh man, like now that I'm older and I've got a much better hand-eye coordination and shit, like I'm able to get like the 3 masks to like just wreck through the entire level.
Nice.
Back then, like I was, oh my god, I went back and played the remastered version of Crash Bandicoot, and man, I was like, yo, this shit's harder than I remember.
Yeah. I mean, put it in perspective for you. I got my Nintendo when I was 6 years old. I got my Nintendo in 1989.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'd
shit,
say
Doom hadn't even come out yet. Fuck.
Yeah. Like
Wolfenstein, that was Wolfenstein, wasn't it? No,
somebody, I forget who it was, in 5th grade class, I had downloaded Wolfenstein on the computer. Like they brought the diskette. Yeah, back then it was a diskette. It wasn't a disc. It was DISKETTE.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was one of the 5 1/4 super floppies. Like it was super thin, flimsy as shit.
Meanwhile, floppy disks had the unfortunate ability to just stop working if you look at them long.
Just seize, yeah. I hated those things.
I remember when I was in public in elementary school, like first, second, third grade, our library, which was also doubled as a didn't even have CD drives yet. They still had floppy disk drives.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's like we were learning, and they had like Microsoft, and they had like Windows, Windows, I think 2000 on it or something.
Gotcha.
Just old.
Yeah. So those computers, man, like that was my first introduction, introduction to PC gaming, essentially. Like I loved to play Oregon Trail, even though I would frequently die of dysentery.
See, the thing I was able to see, I was the guy who later on I always played with like Space Boy, like the pinball game with like the Space Boy thing.
Oh yeah.
It was like Commander Keen on the front of it. Yeah, that was what I played. I was like, I hear everybody talking about how they love playing Oregon Trail in school.
Yeah.
See, that was the one I never. I mean, I own it on Steam, but I haven't played it. You know,
it can be frustrating, sir. It's a lot of RNG. You know that RNG Jesus, man, random number generator Jesus. that's a term from WoW. RNG Jesus.
Dude, I play ESO, man. I'll tell you, like when the year you and when the piece of gear you need is a specific weapon.
Yeah.
Out of a set of like 6 or 7 different types of weapons.
Right. And it only drops off of one boss.
Right, and it drops off the one, and it drops off, and it drops off the final boss in the dungeon. And you need one set, and you need that one type of weapon from that one set, and there's 3 sets in the dungeon, and for that set, all types of weapons can drop for that set. For all 3 sets, so it's like there's been times where I've gotten everything I've needed in 2 runs. There's been times where I've done a damn near 100 runs and still haven't gotten it. It's awful. RNGesus is real. I think there really need, honestly, like there needs to be. I would not mind starting a tax exempt entity worshiping RNGesus. Where our kind of or all you got to do to sign up is just like say, do you click your MMO? Pick your username in that MMO, your real name. All right, you're now a member of the Church of RNGesus.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to the message board.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
That'd be hilarious.
That'd be hysterical.
Oh, man.
I'm not about to go to jail for tax evasion.
Right. All right, so one thing, we get back on track here, back on subject.
Yeah, let's get back to it.
So the whole Blizzard Activision thing, I've played World of Warcraft since inception, essentially. Like I got a late start on it, but it was the same year it came out. I watched a friend of mine, like literally sitting right next to him at his computer, play the beta, and then start leveling his character in the actual game itself before I was able to get my hands on a computer that could run WoW and get my own account and things of that nature. So I started playing. I leveled.
You played classic WoW.
Yeah, essentially. What I played is what's coming out in this August 29th, I think, is the release date for classic WoW coming up.
Yeah.
I got a chance to play one of the stress test servers, and it's legit. It's the OG thing. Like there was. I mean, so some of the stuff that should have been working properly, like the not the sharding, but the I forget what they were calling it, but there's a new version of sharding, and sharding is like sticking 2 servers together. But this was like layering. That's it, layering. So they're using one like gigantic server, like a mega server, comprised of a bunch of little servers. And what they're doing is they're using it, calling it one domain name essentially, and stacking all these different people on these servers. And then eventually they'll just make it all one solid server once the initial influx of people stop. Probably for like the first month or so.
Well, I mean, I will say this, like, the lessons WoW has learned over part of the reason why I think Elder Scrolls Online is so good.
Well, yeah.
They're
taking cues, and they're taking the right cues.
Right. It's like they the way they do loot, where it's like client based. It's like in the sense of everybody gets to loot the boss, and everybody gets a section of loot from that. Yeah. And then if you get a piece of loot that you don't need, but somebody else has a piece of loot you need, you can trade with that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's essentially the way it is now. They have personal loot now. So when the boss dies, like everybody goes up, everybody loots the boss. You get your own gold, and maybe like a gray uncommon item that's just a sellable. It might be worth a couple gold or something of that nature. There's other people that get like actual pieces of gear, and it's completely at random. It's a whole RNGesus thing. I've done a raid over and over.
You can only get gold and maybe a shitty piece of loot from killing a boss when you loot.
No, I mean you get coin from everything that you kill essentially.
Okay, that's the key difference. So when I kill a boss in the ESO, like on a veteran level boss, on a hard boss, I get a weapon or a piece of jewelry from one of the sets in the dungeon. I get a laurel, which is a crafting material for the mercenary clothing style. I get gold. I get a glyph for enchanting that I can disenchant, and I get so the monster helm, set piece, laurel, gold, and I get usually maybe another piece of gear with the ornate trait, meaning I can sell it for a higher level of gold. Or I get an intricate item which I can decon to like quickly boost my crafting for a character.
That's cool.
So one of the things that I think better than WoW is the loot you pick up.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you right there after what you just told me.
Yeah. So now if you do a normal dungeon, you get now if you do a normal dungeon, you'll get everything that except for the laurel and the monster helm. So you'll get like some ornate. You get a couple pieces of ornate gear. You get maybe an intricate piece of gear. So, they shower loot. Because
it's like in WoW you have normal, heroic, and mythic. So normal and heroic you can like auto queue for it. You can just do it as normal like pickup group, essentially a pug.
So the difference is we only have normal and we have veteran, and then veteran. And all veteran content, and in terms of PvE, has a hard mode. And so sometimes the hard mode is, which would be your mythic, the hard mode could be as simple as activating a scroll that basically makes the boss have more health and hit harder. It only happens on the final boss.
Okay.
Or sometimes for example, we have something called the Banished Cells 2, which is a dungeon where the hard mode for that is the boss spawns Daedra. Like over time, like these giant humanoid alligator things. And if you kill the boss while 3 of them are alive, then that's hard mode. But it's honestly a little bit easier, because the tank because if you're in a group that's competent, everybody can self heal, and the tank can handle those 3 things once you get to the execute phase. But when it comes to maybe something like trials, some trials are very linear, where it's like you fight a boss, mini boss, fight a boss, mini boss, final boss, and then you have a scroll that you hit, and that's hard mode. But for some other ones, you have the final boss and then 3 mini boss, 2 mini, separate. So hard mode is there's veteran, which is already hard enough. And you can do this in either veteran or normal, but what would happen is you can make the final boss easier or harder by killing other bosses in the arena first. So if you want it, but you lose out better gear. So they have these. So they have these things called in this one trial I'm in called Cloud Rest. There's a group of gear that I get called Mantle of Auroria. And what it does is when I hit somebody with a time effect, which is basically like I'm a DOT AoE DPS, so fuck yeah, I'm hitting everybody with that DPS. I get a ring of fire spawned beneath my feet, which gives me 20 spell damage, and it stacks up to 20 times.
Nice.
I can get as much as I think 600. I think it max out at 600. The problem is I also play Nightblood, so I kind of like to move a little bit, And the problem with that set is you have to stand still to get your damage buff, So I end up going with something that gives me a little bit less, but I'm able to actually move,
Right.
But the thing is that if you go and improve the harder version of that, you get the perfect Mantle of Auroria, which on top of giving you that extra damage buff, it also gives you 1,000 extra magicka, which because a lot of your passive skills give you magicka boosts based on percentages. That 1,000 boosts, depending on how you spec, could be as much as 3,000 extra magic, which is like an extra spam skill without having to worry about regaining that.
Yeah.
So
cool.
And they also some it's like the Asylum Sanctorium, where you have to be mad saints and giant robots like that whose souls are put in giant robots. You get these special asylum weapons, You know, like the one of them is the Asylum's greatsword, which no, I don't remember exactly what the Inferno staff for the Asylum Inferno staff, which all the destruction staffs of the Asylum have. Like, there's this ability in the destruction force, shock, which deals shock damage, fire damage, and shock, fire, and ice damage all at once when you hit it, and it does about 6,000 total damage. And it has and what this and what it base and it has the if you use this staff, what it basically does is every third time you cast it, you're guaranteed to apply that effect. But with what the perfected version is, it basically that happens every second time. You know, so it's like they have like little things that like make them slightly better. You know, but if you don't have them, you only lose, I think, 1,000 DPS. You know, so like a lot of the end game people want you 35k DPS, like 35 to 40k DPS, which you have to have best in slot gear to achieve that. Yeah. I average 25 to 30 when I'm actually trying. You know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's for most veteran content, that is more than competent.
Mm-hmm.
But for some who want to just do shit, I'm not up to snuff, they will kick me.
Yeah, no, we'll see. And wow, it's a complete and like total fuckfest because it's such an elitist community now. Like for somebody like me, I really don't play that much. Like I'll get on, I'll do my quests, do my dailies and stuff like that. But that's all I'll do because I can't get into the mythic dungeons and the mythic raids and stuff like that.
Because it requires so much extra time in terms.
Well, it's not just that. It's just there's add-ons that are completely, in my opinion, kind of ruining the game. Like there's this current add-on for a while called Raider.io, and basically it compiles a list of all your past dungeon runs, and like based on how much you've won and lost and your gear and there's many other factors, it gives you some bullshit score, you know, that people can see if you have the add-on. And if your score's not up to snuff, they deny you, even though you could be the best fucking rogue on the server. If your Raider.io score isn't up to snuff, like they won't invite you. You won't get into any group.
It sounds like it's easier to get good credit than score.
Yeah. Yeah,
how do you come back from a bad score? It doesn't sound like you can.
Yeah, and I mean, you basically have to wait till like a patch reset, or basically like what just happened. Like they just dropped 8.2 in World of Warcraft with the Wrath of Ashara, and that's basically essentially a gear reset, which shouldn't need to happen. Like back in the day, back when World of Warcraft's first expansion with the Burning Crusade, we had 3 tiers of raids that existed in the same time frame. Like there wasn't like a major the patches were this new raid comes out, but the old gear was still viable. Like it wasn't something that was just going to be thrown aside after spending hours and hours to get it.
Yeah, it's one of the things. Like I don't like heavy grinding,
Yeah, I think that brings us back around to our topic.
Yeah, honestly like I like Destiny was a grind,
Yeah.
It's and I'm not gonna lie, Destiny kind of killed style of progression,
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not a fan of that in a lot of.
Well, when I played Destiny, the first one, I remember when the promises of that game, when they first announced it, like this game is going to be a 10-year long game. Like we're going to constantly release patches for it, this, that, and the other.
And the funny thing is,
blah, 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 blah.
It was that until 6 months before launch.
Activision stepped in.
Bungie said, "Hey, there's not enough monetization, and it's too good. We need to make sure Call of Duty doesn't lose."
Yep.
So you're gonna have to. So So all this cool shit you made is gone and is DLC now, and half of it's going to be DLC. The other half is never going to be day, and you got to build this all from scratch and all this bullshit. And also, I'm just going to say this. Like, I'm glad Peter Dinklage isn't the Ghost anymore because his voice acting sucked. The new guy they have is amazing. I don't care that he's on Game of Thrones. He sucks. He's a bad voice actor. Fuck him.
I mean, it never bothered me. Like, I knew who he was. I thought it was just hilarious that he was the voice of, the Cube.
He just sounded bored.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah.
The new guy just has a much higher level of personality.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but either way, so.
But yeah, so like right there, what I consider.
Yeah, you're UK. You cutting out. You're UK. You cutting out.
No, I'm good. You good?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Moving right along.
Yeah, I just could go back to it's the evil of Activision is what I call it. It's the only way I can explain it. It's like they come in and they just like they suck the life out of teams. Like Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. The only two Call of Duty games I'll reference this entire podcast were two of the greatest first-person shooters I've ever played. After what happened in Modern Warfare 2 with Activision and Infinity Ward, to me that was like the downfall of the empire that Activision had.
See,
Activision made games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
I never heard about that. What was the deal with that? What happened?
So there was a major fallout between Infinity Ward, the two main guys of Infinity Ward, and Activision themselves because they weren't paid for up front for their game for Modern Warfare 2. So they folded Infinity Ward. They just folded the doors and we're just like, nope, that's it. We're not going to make another game for you until until you pay us. So it went into a whole legal debacle, and yeah. So, like I said, that was basically the start of the fall of the empire that was Activision. Like I said, Activision made great games. Like Activision was part of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like one of the most iconic games ever. And you look at what they're doing today with DLC and loot crates. It's like you're literally sucking your teams dry and sucking your consumers dry.
There's in the current way the stock market works, if you have a standard year, if shit was good, no gains, no losses, everybody's happy with the product. We didn't have any product like epic products put out this year, but we're working on them this year, and we're going to see a great growth next year. Your stock sinks. I mean, look at Facebook last year had a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
They said we just had an average year. Things were good. Shit happened. But we're still profitable. We're no new giant growth already. Fine and dandy. We haven't laid any. We haven't gotten rid of anybody. Perfectly fine. The stock market, their stock crashed overnight because they didn't have growth.
Yep.
It's these people who live off of stock. Literally can't fathom a company not making money. And people like last I checked, places like Amazon and Facebook don't give dividends to their investors.
No, they don't.
They're Amazon and Facebook stock and Google stock is treated like a commodity.
Yep.
Like you have to sell it when high and buy it when low. But for a company that never sinks ever, it's just sitting there. It's just and yes, having that wealth there will allow you things and all that. It's income. That income is locked up, and your value grows without having any without having the taxes that come with more income.
Right.
Your value as a person grows without having.
Yeah, your total net worth will grow because you have that just sitting there.
Right, because it's not income. It's its value, and I get that.
It's just an asset.
Like people are depending on. Problem is when an entire industry is dependent on making shit that is fun, you can't the goal can't shift off fun, because if the goal, it doesn't matter how profitable I don't like the last game I pre-ordered was Fallout 76. I love it. I love Fallout 76 now. But I had and it was exactly what I was expecting. Like, I didn't believe any of Todd Howard's lies. It was exactly what I was doing in Fallout. Killing shit, looting shit, building shit, killing more shit to build more shit, to craft more shit.
It was the same game.
It was the same game loop that I was playing, just in a much bigger world.
Much bigger world, different timeline.
And I will say, to their credit, the way they set up the PvP and that is rather positive. All the toxic players go into PvP survival mode and kill each other. All the people who hang, it's basically impossible to PvP in a, because of like just the way they got rid of slap damage, where if you attack somebody, you do a little, and once they attack you, you like all damage is on. Like, they got rid of that. Like, if somebody attacks you, if they attack you back, they do full fucking damage.
Jesus.
So it's like there's no reason to grieve for asshole. I'm at Critical in Fallout 76, the YouTuber. We were in survival mode, and we us for a little bit. And when I say raided with us, I mean I ran into people who I had never talked with before. And I just said, hey, over voice comm. They said, hey, back. We chatted for a bit, moved up, and then we proceeded to play for the next 5 hours together.
Yeah.
It's a positive. The game itself, it's gotten significantly better. But I will say, if you're looking for a game where it's like, where you can make spontaneous connections like that in a positive way, that's definitely a game to do it. I mean, I was playing with this one guy who was like a few years younger than me. He's like 17 or 18 years old, and then he had a friend he met who was like 12 or 13, and like the 12 or 13-year-old goes to Catholic school in Philadelphia, and it was like, and it was like, do you believe? God, no. Like, and he said that and I asked him, did your friends believe in, like, a few of them, but most of us are like got turned off by it. And I ended up like suggesting, like, listen, like, if you want to be like, if you want to succeed in this world, what you got to do is read. Doesn't matter what, just read lots of, and I ended up just giving him a bunch of advice and stuff. And I chatted with him after, and he was much more articulate because he started reading. And I've never talked to him again because I ran into him on a server out of the blue because it's a small world. It's just, I don't know. My ADHD took me on.
It's all good, but
no segue with this one. Let's segue. Let's just move.
Let's move on. All right.
Yeah. So this is you and I can both, you and I can give two similar but different perspectives on this next topic, which is, and I quote, struggles of dating in the modern.
Yeah, struggles of dating in the modern age. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, even in my lifetime, like, I'm 35. Like, watching stuff on TV that I watched growing up, like I don't know. It's just like the dating faux pas, like the customs, essentially, like how you go about it. It's so different now. Like, now that we have technology, like, oh yeah, I can open up an app and I look at I judge somebody just based on their physical appearance and maybe a little splurb about their personal life, and you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to go out on a date with this, and swipe right, and then maybe you hear from them, and likely not. You know, like
I mean,
just,
I know when I'm on Tinder, I just like every woman I see. I'm not the most pretty girl. So I like the way I figure. Why why risk it? You know?
yeah.
For me being younger, I grew up with this. You know, I grew up. Now, granted, you got to remember, I also grew up in a slightly hickish environment and moved into the city at age 9. You know, so I've got the kind of the best and worst of both worlds. You know, I'm very old school when it comes to dating. I don't like talking to other people about bullshit with my relationship. I only ever bring it up to other people after it's been resolved with me.
Right.
I always make sure my part and I resolve our issues before we move on. Make sure we talk about everything. I don't post about about my relationship on social media, you know, and and if I'm faithful, I've never had a thought of cheating in my life.
Right.
You know, I've you know, I like courtship and taking her out on a date and chatting, and getting to the person. You know, it's
You're just a romantic, bud.
I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't like fucking on a first date. You know,
I mean, that's it's something that's I think that's something that's changed, like that I've seen at least in my lifetime. I mean, it's not so much anymore, but that was, you know, for me.
and I don't like drinking, and I don't like drinking, and I don't like getting high and doing that. It's like I want to be present in the moment, and I'm on Tinder, and I see, and I'm after my last relationship, I'm just not in a place where I want to trying to get used to feeling like just talking to other women again in a tonic.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good. And I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I was scratching my head, hit my headset. But yeah, no, Tinder's a little weird for me. Like it's interesting and it kind of skews me out, but I don't need it anymore.
Because you've got.
Yeah, it's no longer on my phone. The app has been deleted.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird because like it's like there's such like a societal pressure. Like at least I feel like going out with somebody, like actually going out with a girl, taking her out on a date. Like you guys go out on your first date, whatever you do, have fun with it. You know, make it a light, jovial time. Your second time, a little more serious. Go, take her out to dinner, and maybe go see a funny movie or something crazy, or go bowling. I may go play horseshoes or cornhole somewhere.
I'm looking at Tinder right now, and tons of gorgeous women, and I see ass, titties, all of it. Like that's fine, but can you hold a conversation?
Right, that's
the
thing
question.
you gotta look at. Yeah, that's the big question right there. Is like, can we actually intellectually stimulate each other?
Right. Aside, if you just wanna like f around and have sex, that's one thing. But like, outside of that, do I enjoy being around you? Do you enjoy being around me?
That's the ultimate question.
You know, it's because aside, like our body, our libidos make us one person. That's all that matters. But I'm like, you end up like I want to sit down and be turned on by a conversation rather than just seeing somebody shaking ass in my face.
Oh, most certainly, yeah. No, believe me, I fully understand what you mean.
You know, it's you know, I see. I'm swiping left, right, like right now.
Yeah.
I see gorgeous woman after gorgeous woman. All of them look perfectly beautiful, but does it what is beauty if there's no inner beauty either?
Right.
If I don't enjoy, if you're an awful person, matter. You know, and I don't even know how it older and have grown up in an age where like the dating rules have changed within my lifetime.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't really.
They've changed multiple times in my lifetime, dude. Like,
They've changed. Yeah, they've changed. It's changed. Like I grew up like when I was like flip phones were out when I started when I was just a child, you know, and it's like things have changed from, you know, it's you like just the way people communicate has changed in drastic ways. I mean, I live next to 3 bars. No, wait, I live at least right next to 3. There's a 10 within spitting distance.
yeah.
I don't like going out to bars because once everybody starts drinking, you're slowly being left. And what I mean by that is everybody's becoming more conscious. I'm still in the same one, and it gets to a point where like once people are like, "Oh, this guy's not drinking," oh, but he is. Let me go over to him. You know?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, okay, I see what you mean.
You know, it's like you can't. It's like it's. I feel while if I go to like I'm not pressured to partake. You know, that environment is heavily. You know, I will still leave a tip for the bartender. You know, that, you know, just because that's what you're supposed to do. But everybody else is just, I don't know, man. And at the same time, I'm not even in the mood to be getting into like something emotional because I'm still trying to piece my heart back together. You know?
Right. I mean, it's ultimately going to take the time.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, though, I've seen 180. I remember 3 weeks ago you were just miserable. You know, it's like after you got back from ShareFest, you were great, and now you're an awesome woman who's just I hear nothing but amazing things about. Like it brings me joy to see a friend of mine better. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it was getting rough, man.
Yeah.
not gonna lie, it was getting a little rough, and you know, just by chance, actually, you know, I think I'll be honest with you, I think my sister kind of like planned this whole thing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at her one bit. So yeah, I met this girl just at a party. It was well, not really a party. It was a party when I got there, but earlier it was a memorial service for my buddy's dog, and you know, this girl was there, Jess, and you know, she's very attractive, extremely attractive, and you know, there was a comment about a lightning bug. I'm not going to go into full details, but it made
Please
everybody.
don't.
No, it made everybody, you know, at the table laugh, and my sister was like, "Yeah, this is my older brother."
I'm not gonna lie, dude. That comment could have gone either way.
Yeah. It definitely went the way. I'm glad it went the way it did. That's the way I wanted to word it. I'm glad it went the way it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a, you know, chance meeting, and yeah, like it's been a good time. Yeah, we've talked about it. We know what to expect, and we're just gonna wait for it to get there, and then we'll deal with it.
Yep. And that's good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just don't understand why all of the girls who keep starting conversations with me on Tinder are like learning to be teachers or nannies or something. Like I always said it was a joke. Like I come from my relationships in the past have been with people who are in childcare in some respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's starting to not be funny anymore. But all jokes aside, let's see. There's one more thing I saw. I could have sworn I seen.
You seen it?
I seen it.
I seen it.
I
tell you, boy, I seen it.
Oh man. So, so I don't know about you, man, but what? I don't know about you, but I'm kind of hungry, so I'm looking about to wrap this.
Word.
Yep. All right. Well, Dan, I appreciate you coming on. Maybe a little bit of coercion and bribery, we might Rick on sometime. Me and him could have a chat.
Maybe.
Be interesting.
Yeah, definitely would be interesting.
Yeah. But either way, thank you all for listening to the Soapbox. I really kind of forgot we were on a podcast for a second, but I digress. Either way, Dan, thanks for coming on, and
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
See you all on the next one.